Fox News Alert Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the war in Iran could be over in a matter of weeks, not months.
We have objectives. I've told you what those objectives are, and we are very confident that we are on the verge of achieving them very, very soon.
Rubio told G7 allies that this could be wrapped up in 2 to 4 weeks, as the Pentagon's currently considering sending 10,000 more ground troops into the Middle East. And the clock continues to tick for the mullahs. The president says the Iranians are on their knees.
Iran! What's the latest with Iran, sir?
On Iran, they are being decimated. They are talking. We are talking now. They want to make a deal. Very simply, our military is the greatest in the world by far. Iran is being decimated.
It's only going to get worse. Our kamikaze speedboats have just entered the war zone for the first time in the history of combat. These robo-skippers, also known as GARCs, are like remote-controlled jet skis that explode on impact. They're cheaper to make than missiles and have already logged over 2,000 miles in epic fury. And they're targeting Tehran's fleet of high-speed attack boats. The Strait of Hormuz is becoming a testing ground for next-generation warfare. The USS Abraham Lincoln was also pictured just outside of the strait in the Arabian Sea. The warship's nearly the size of the Empire State Building, and it's untouchable.
A very valuable thing that we had floating on the water, namely an aircraft carrier, biggest in the world. And they were shot, 101, going 2,500 miles an hour. And out of the 101 missiles shot, 101 missiles were shot down.
The USS Tripoli is almost in position, and on board, the Marines. New photos show the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit conducting a live-fire deck shoot from the ship, preparing for action. Joining our F-35s in the air, the F-15 Strike Eagles, designed for high-speed, long-range, and deep targets, both in the air and on the ground. New video shows U.S. forces continuing to decimate key military infrastructure deep inside of Iran. In 4 weeks, 10,000 military targets have been hit, and we fired over 850 Tomahawks. 2/3 of Iran's missiles have been destroyed or buried under rubble. Trump says the target list is shrinking.
We're just floating over the top looking for whatever we want, and we're hitting it, and we have another 3,554 targets left, and that'll be done pretty quickly.
As we go into the final stage of the war, hopefully, the campaign's been more focused on strategic targeting. We're settling in at a sustainable pace of bombing between 300 and 500 targets a day. We're also using shorter-range munitions that are far less expensive. Meanwhile, the Israelis had a big 24 hours. After taking out the Guard's Navy commander, the IDF just struck gold. Iran's main hub for missile and mine production. The IDF says the facility was also used for planning maritime attacks and warehousing anti-ship and submarine missiles. The Israelis also carried out attacks on 2 of Iran's largest steel plants. That should set the regime back significantly. And then to top it off, they hit their nuclear program, including a heavy water reactor site in the center of the country and a yellowcake plant. Our Gulf allies want more. They're telling the White House that ending the war prematurely would be a colossal mistake. They want Iran's missile capabilities completely eliminated and their ability to project power neutered. 2 key Iranian nuclear sites still remain untouched. Stockpiles of uranium and fissile material remain deep underground in the mountains. And there are rumors that Iran's hiding its most advanced missile in its arsenal, a maneuverable 1,000-pound warhead with an optically guided terminal seeker. The Iranians still haven't used it in the war. Is it defective? Are they conserving it? We don't know. It's a mystery. Not fully disarming Iran would be considered reckless. That's according to the Secretary of State.
They've used the wealth of that country to sponsor terrorism, build rockets, build drones, build missiles, build sea mines. That's what they've done with it. When we are done with them here in the next couple of weeks, they will be weaker than they've been in recent history, and they will not be able to hide behind those weapons to break out and get a nuclear weapon, which would be crazy. They hit embassies, they target hotels, they try to kill civilians, they splash out at all their neighbors. Imagine if these radical lunatics had a nuclear weapon to threaten the world with.
Our terms for a deal are clear. No nuke, uranium, or terrorism, and serious limitations put on the missiles. The regime's not going down without a fight. An Iranian missile and drone just got through Saudi air defenses and hit the Prince Sultan Air Base. Several Americans are injured, and an air tanker was struck. We're still negotiating, but no one's heard from the gay cardboard Ayatollah. The people we're negotiating with are still waiting for him to counter. Also, everyone's underground with no phones. So how do they communicate? No idea. But that's why peace talks could drag. Behind the scenes, Iranian hardliners have been telling their scientists to fast-track a nuke. This is just according to reports. The Guard's consolidated power over the clerics. The country's been reduced to a rump state military dictatorship. The Guard operating like a cartel, skimming off the top of sanctioned oil trades, financing kickback schemes from proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah, the Houthis. Retired four-star General Jack Keane says this is why a deal's a long shot.
Listen, anybody close to this knows who the Iranians are. None of us think that these negotiations will materialize. We're asking Iran to give up, to surrender everything that we're willing to take away from them, everything. And if they don't do that, no deal.
The United States still says progress is being made. Vance could be taking the lead on negotiations, but a senior administration official tells Axios, quote, if the Iranians can't strike a deal with Vance, they don't get a deal. He's the best they're going to get. They're not negotiating with Kerry and Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama, did you ever hear of him? Barack Hussein Obama, he had the Iran nuclear deal. He went to Iran. He paid him. Remember, he sent two Boeing 757 jetliners. They took the seats out and they piled it with cash, like 1.7 billion of cash. They sent the cash to Iran, but more importantly, they signed an agreement, the Iran nuclear deal. If I didn't terminate it, they would have had a nuclear weapon.
The Iranians say they're ready for a long war, but they have to say that because the mullahs, oops, they're firing missiles at themselves. And their friends are useless.
Let me put it to you this way. There is nothing Russia is doing for Iran that is in any way impeding or affecting our operation or the effectiveness of it.
The Chinese probably aren't happy with Iran either. Tehran just turned 2 Chinese ships away from the strait, and Beijing might not have its way with the strait for long.
They have to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Such a terrible mistake. The fake news will say, he accidentally said, no, there's no accidents with me.
It's not a matter of if the strait gets open, it's a matter of when. And the rest of the world needs it more than we do. Rubio's telling our allies, step it up.
They want to set up a tolling system in the Straits of Hormuz. Not only is this illegal, it's unacceptable, it's dangerous to the world. And it's important that the world have a plan to confront it. The United States is prepared to be a part of that plan. We don't have to lead that plan, but we're happy to be a part of it. But these countries have a lot at stake. Not just the G7 countries, but countries in Asia and all over the world have a lot at stake and should contribute greatly to that effort to ensure that neither the Straits of Hormuz or, frankly, any international waterways should ever be something that's controlled or tolled by a nation state.
We want the strait open, and the allies are getting in gear. The president's promising a swift end to the war, and he remains confident our objectives are being met.
Tonight, we're closer than ever to the rise of the Middle East that is finally free at last from Iranian terror, aggression, and nuclear blackmail. That's what's happened. It was nuclear blackmail for years and years.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.